All right, welcome back into another episode of Keeping Up with Southside Athletics. Time to talk a little wrestling. And Coach, how you been doing, first of all?
Doing pretty good.
Dude, we've been through some weather. We've been through the holidays now. I know this is the first time we got to bring you in here, but to kind of catch everybody up with wrestling, how it's been going, kind of the floor is yours, man. Just catch us up to where we're at right now, and we're going to start bringing you on each and every week.
Yeah, we're pretty deep in the season at this point. Had a bunch of wrestling over Christmas break. We went down to New Orleans, went down to Gulf Shores. We've been over to Georgia. We've been wrestling a bunch. It's been a long season so far. We're pretty experienced and we've been able to compete pretty hard, but we're banged up right now. So
you got some guys out then, obviously.
They're wrestling.
They are wrestling banged up.
They're wrestling banged up, yeah.
It's one of the most physical, brutal sports there is out there. I mean, as far as taking its toll on your body, but for your average fan who don't watch wrestling or know that much about it, talk about what it's like. I mean, just day-to-day activities with wrestling, recovery. What do you guys have? How do you train? Things like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard. I mean, every sport has some physical aspect to it, but the thing that kind of I think sets wrestling apart is the weight management added on top of that. So not only are you trying to recover, but you're trying to recover your muscles and your energy levels with a limited diet in some cases. So a lot of our guys are doing a good job keeping the weight where it needs to be, but it's a constant battle. Hydration's hard when you're sweating that much, and
dehydration.
Yeah, and being dehydrated just in general. So the physical aspects, it's a controlled fight for 6 minutes at a time, and when you're talking about practice time, we're going 2 hours a day. So the recovery's been tough, and the weight management adds on to the difficulties there.
Dude, how much education do you have to give the guys in hydration, what foods to eat, how to recover? I mean, you need a coach just to do that, not counting about the technical part. I mean, you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%. It's hard. It's I came in to coaching after wrestling for 6 years, and we weren't given any kind of information. There were times that we were, all the things that are illegal now. Yeah. Trash bags on our bodies and sauna suits and trying to dehydrate as much as we can, not eating for several days at a time or eating very little. But we've really tried to hone that in, and I'm not a nutritionist by any means, but me and the coaching staff have done a lot of research to give them healthy food options, and kind of managing when the meals happen as to just not eating. It's hard. Eating breakfast super important. Lunch is when you want to skip if you're going to skip one. Dinner helps you with recovery after practice and after competition stuff. What to eat after weigh-ins, because we weigh in roughly an hour before we compete. So trying to fuel our bodies, but not stuff ourselves down, because then you get sick while you're competing. So the amount of education is a lot, and the extra research that kind of we have to go into. I know every sport, nutrition's a big part of it, how you fuel your body. But for us, trying to maintain weight, it adds another layer.
Coach, back in our day, we just eating junk, chips, whatever, hamburgers, whatever. You guys can't do that.
No.
I mean, those days are over with.
Yeah.
Especially with the regulations now, when you can't do certain cuts and stuff.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
This ain't UFC.
It's very, yeah. We're not cutting anything like that, but it's the managing's hard. Once they get down to the weight, most kids coming into the room from the off season come in and lose, depending on how big they are, 5 to even like our heavyweights a lot of times 15, 20 pounds,
right.
Just because the level of activity goes up so much. So, it's a different world now.
No doubt. How much did the weather affect you this last go around? And then we got some coming up. Is it affecting you schedule wise, or what do you got to get done? Because they're saying, we may get it Tuesday and Friday this week coming up.
Yeah. It cost us a tournament, but it was rescheduled. So practice time, mat time, which honestly for us was probably a blessing. We need some time to recover and rest. So weather hasn't been a huge issue for us.
Gotcha. So it didn't affect you nothing.
Not
like in basketball, let's talk about they got to get all their area games in by next Monday.
Yeah.
And 2 of them games are scheduled on the snow days.
Yeah. We're set schedule wise.
Okay,
So
good. A couple more questions before I let you get out of here. the state of wrestling around the state right now. My cousin is a coach at Gadsden City right now.
Yeah.
He absolutely loves it. I've seen what the guys have done, at Asheville, other places, at Oxford, Thompson. There's some really good places that have really good wrestling team. But just the overall state of wrestling, in your opinion, how much has it grown over the last few years?
Oh my gosh, we have.
Hallie Williamson, will you please come to Ms. Clark's office?
We have probably 20 new teams that have formed in the past 5 years. I mean, small schools are building up. We made the split from 1 through 5A, 6A and 7A to 1 through 4A. 5A has its own tournament now, so those 1 through 4A teams have a lot of growing room. People didn't want to come in, schools didn't want to start teams and have to come in and compete with 5A schools. Out the bat, Arab, Scottsboro, Tallahassee, those power, Gulf Shores, Southside, in the past. So splitting 1 through 4A gave a lot of room for small school growth. We have 2 new teams in the county, 3 new teams in the county. Etowah started a team this year, Coosa Christian started their team this year, and West End's been rolling for about three years now. So the growth is exploding amongst boys, but like even bigger with the girls. Teams are popping up every year, new teams. We have 6 girls on roster right now here. It's one of the fastest nationally growing sports, not only in the state.
Do you think the UFC's had something to do with that? Because so many guys who has that wrestling background are not only good, they're dominant.
Yeah.
And that's got to show some kind of popularity. When people see that on TV, they're like, how did this dude get to where he is? Well, he started a wrestling background.
Yeah.
So-and-so's a wrestling background. Brock Lesnar's one of the most well-known athletes of all time. Do you think that has something to do with the growth?
I mean, I think it's got to have some kind of positive influence. I don't hear personally a lot of hey, why do you want to come wrestle? Because I love the UFC. I don't hear that personally a lot, but I mean, I think having superstars like that, guys like Bo Nickel, who's a big time, he was a wrestler. Henry Cejudo was an Olympic champion, UFC champion. So having those guys with that background and kind of promoting it, and UFC's exploding too right now. It's I remember watching UFC, like those older guys like 20 years ago. I remember
and no gloves.
Yeah, I remember watching those with my dad. When I was young. So it's come a long way and it's been promoted well. But I think wrestling doesn't have a lot of avenues after collegiate level.
That's right.
And that's even growing more opportunities to wrestle in college now too. So,
that's right.
But I think the UFC's kind of, I think it benefits probably more from us than we do from it.
Oh, absolutely.
But
ain't no doubt about
but I mean, yeah, it's got to have some kind of impact.
Yeah, and people knowing how to take care of their bodies and take care of themselves.
Yes.
You never know. You're out in public, somebody tries to rob you and your family.
Yeah, don't mess with a guy with cauliflower ear.
That's right. Don't ever. don't
ever
do that. That's the number one rule of all rules. Dude's got a cauliflower ear, you just
don't
let
touch
him be. I don't care how tough you think you are. You let that one walk on by.
You're not that tough.
You may try somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, just final thoughts before we let this in. We're going to dive into more individual athletes, and hey, we'll get some of the individual athletes on the show. That's fine with me.
Cool.
Just this week, we're a little crunched for time. Just final thoughts before we shut it down.
Yeah, so we're heading tomorrow night to Gardendale to wrestle in the state duels tournament. If we beat Gardendale, Mortimer Jordan's going to be sitting there waiting. Kind of the way that the duels tournament works, it's a random schedule, but we're going to Gardendale. I think we have a good chance to compete pretty well with them. We've ended up finishing second in our region. Didn't wrestle extremely well against Pell City last weekend, but we have the opportunity to go and make the playoffs as far as wrestling is concerned. And the next 2 weeks are kind of big for us in that sense, where Gardendale, Mortimer Jordan would be the path definitely at least laid out, and then probably a crossing with defending state champions Mountain Brook in the semis. So we're dialed in. Practices are kind of getting shorter now to make sure that we're feeling good. So like I said, we're trying to stay healthy. But we're 4 weeks from sectionals, and so we're kind of crunch time right now. And a lot of the teaching's over. It's a lot of just cleaning stuff up and getting ready for postseason.
Execution.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, and some of these names, for those who don't know, some of these names y'all are mentioning are like perennial powerhouses that y'all have.
Yeah, in the past, all 3 of those teams have won state championships in the past 10 years. Like Gardendale was a dominant force about in the past 5 years, and they're still really good. Mortimer Jordan won it 3 years ago. Mountain Brook, defending. So we're in the meat grinder right now.
You sitting there saying those names, I know those just from Average Joe's loosely getting to cover wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here hearing these names, I'm like, man, these are some perennial powers you're talking about right here.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough 2 weeks, but
it's like Cupcake City.
No, guys are responding well though. We have a really good group. Like I said, injuries have hindered kind of, not necessarily expectations, but the reality is your body only lets you do so much.
That's correct.
So when your body fails, it's you're kind of at the mercies of that. But
That's right.
but they're responding well. Our guys are really bought in. We brought in a few newer guys. In the past years, a lot of the football team has come over and started competing with us. So we're on our way.
Dude, that helps them too. I'm telling you right now, that every wrestler I know that's done both, it's helped them tremendously in football.
Yeah,
physicality with the, leverage, all kind of conditioning. It's been beneficial for football players to wrestle.
Well, I know we had one guy that wrestled, didn't play football, went out and started for the football team his senior year.
See what I'm saying?
So I mean,
that would never happen on the if I'm telling you right now, that would you'd never come off the couch and go start in football.
No,
especially at a 6A.
Yeah,
you can forget that.
So I'm proud of the guys. I'm proud of how we're responding. I'm ready to see what we can do tomorrow night. Just got to get ready and go.
Coach, I appreciate you sitting in. We're going to bring you in each and every week from here on out. Thank you so much. And anything you need from us, let us know.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.